Is the Gale controller by BigBig Won a must buy right now, or should you spend your money elsewhere? We're gonna be talking about that in today's video. Let's hop right into it. So just a quick disclaimer, BigBig Won did send this out to me for review, but they're not seeing it before y'all. They didn't tell me what to say. They literally just sent the email and said, hey, we got this controller. Do you want to review it? I said, sure. They said, it's on its way. Let us know when you upload the video. I love those kind of reps. I appreciate you. So we're gonna continue on making two videos for controllers. One is gonna be a straight review. We're not gonna go into how to use it and stuff. And the second one will be a how-to kind of video to give you guys and gals tutorial pretty much on how to set back buttons, how to use the gyro and all that stuff, because there's a lot of stuff on this controller. All right, so packaging with the controller itself, you are gonna get the controller itself. I did like the box itself it came in. And honestly, you get a 2.4 adapter with it, user manual, you get an after sales card, which is just a qualified certification of them checking it, I guess, before they ship it out. And you're going to get the USB cable as well. It comes with the dock and it has the light on it and stuff. It's showing it's charging and stuff. It's not magnetic or anything like that, but it shows you it's got an orange light at the bottom of it showing you it is being charged and stuff. But the cool thing about this dock is on the back of it, your 2.4 dongle actually slides into there, and this dock acts as a double feature pretty much. Like you can charge your controller through it, but at the same time you're using it if you have it hooked up to your PC as a 2.4 dongle, or if you have it hooked up to your Switch. So compatibility on this controller itself is going to be for the Nintendo Switch, the PC, and pretty much anything kind of Bluetooth, because it's got Bluetooth on it. So it got cell phones and things like that. You're getting a 1000 milliamp battery with this, which is actually only giving you about 10 hours of gameplay. I did feel like that was a little bit on the lower side, especially nowadays when you're getting controllers that are coming out with 20, 25, 30 hours of battery life. I mean, when you're done playing with them, you're just going to set it back on this beautiful charger it comes with anyways. So cosmetics of the controller, I like the way this thing looks. The black, it's pretty good. I do enjoy the orange rings around them. I think it kind of gives it that pop without being too godly or anything like that. And they have a white version that I have to say it's pretty awesome looking myself. Ergonomics of the controller itself, it does feel really good in the hand. I mean, honestly, it's just a typical Xbox controller. And I mean, I honestly can't at this point tell you the difference. It felt very good. The controller itself, it does have some gripple on the back of it, as you can see here, if I can get it to focus for you guys and gals. And it's just going to give you that little bit of, it's not like super overstimulated or anything like that, but it's there and it works. The plastics on the controller, they don't feel very cheap actually. They feel pretty good. It's not they don't feel like some of the other third-party controllers you get your hands on that just feel super cheap and stuff. And in my opinion, this doesn't. You do have a cell phone holder right here. I didn't get that with the kit or anything like that. I think this is just sold separately. So the D-pad on the controller itself, trying to get the focus for y'all, it's not like the best D-pad in the world, if I'm being 100% honest with you. The pivots on it don't feel perfect and great. It's not like I'm hanging up everywhere, but I felt better D-pads in my days. I mean, I've reviewed a few controllers at this point on the channel, but it's not like super bad. You know, it's not raised too high or anything like that. It's just not the best D-pad in the world. It's a little bit smaller in my personal opinion too. And honestly, if they're going to have something this small, I feel like they should throw a dome on there instead. Just give us a dome D-pad, and that'll help out with the roll-offs too and stuff with this style of controller, or D-pad, I should say. So, you know, not the best D-pad in the world, but not the worst D-pad. I'd say it's a little bit under average, if I'm being 100% honest with you. And that's just my opinion on it. The XYBA buttons on the controller themselves, they feel pretty good. There's nothing special, but they're not tactile or anything like that. These are going to be your normal membrane face buttons on the controller. So like, you can hear them. They got a little bit of a clickiness to them, but that's just, it's not like tactile. They're a lot quieter and tactile, not like the Razer controllers that we've reviewed here. But they feel fine. They're rated for 1 million on their website. The accessory buttons here, they're nice and they're soft. They're super small. Like when I say they're soft, they're just soft to press in. They're normal. I don't need to tell you the button, the main button here for the home button and all that. You do have a super flat. There's not a whole lot of a groove to it at all. It's got a clickiness to it, not like a super loud clickiness, but it's there. And you have your function button down here. The function button, I'll show you guys and gals how to use that in the second video. The thumbsticks on this controller, they feel pretty good. They they feel like an original Xbox controller with the tension on them and stuff. They're not super loose, and they have a little, not like, they're not stiff by any stretch, but like, that's why I can just compare them to an Xbox controller, because that's about what they feel like to me. They do come with the anti-friction rings, which is nice to see, because some controllers just don't, and at this point I don't understand. But I will say on the right stick itself, let me see if I can catch that for y'all. If you can see, if I can get it to show. Can I get it to show? Okay, I got it, barely. As you see there, it's already rubbing. The black, the shine, the gloss on the joystick itself right there is already rubbing away. And that's because right here, there was a little bit of a rough patch I was hitting while I was playing the game. I noticed it, so I just assumed that was gonna happen. And sure enough, after several gaming sessions with this controller, it was just kind of fading away right there in that one spot. I mean, it's not like it's noticeable, but it's not like super bad or anything like that. But I do want to put that in there. It's just the right stick bottom left corner is where it's getting caught up at, and I can feel it. Everything else around is smooth as butter. But brother.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Much better than the left stick, in my personal opinion. Yeah, so just throwing that out there. Moving on. One thing I don't understand about this controller is one of my nitpicks on this controller. It's actually a decent sized one, in my personal opinion. Let me explain. This controller has Hall effect joysticks in them, and I don't understand why. It has Hall effects triggers, but they're not putting them in their joysticks. While we're talking about thumbsticks and stuff, the control freaks will fit on this controller themselves. The Xbox were kind of tight. Like, I got them on. They kind of indented the stick themselves, but it fixed. It's not there no more, so that's good. So you could probably use Xbox. I'm gonna leave that up to y'all. I don't have other ones. I need to buy other ones. I know this. I've just been lazy and haven't bought them. Let me know in the comments below that I'm lazy and I need to buy other control freaks to test these out for you guys and gals, and I might actually do it, because I'll say I'll do it and I'll forget. So if you remind me in the comments, for the love of God. All right, so let's move on to the bumpers on the top of the controller itself. They have like a nice soft feel to them. Like, they're not clicky and they're not super soft. They don't feel cheap by any stretch, and they feel really, really good. I actually enjoy these bumpers myself, the way they press, and they press from all the way from right here on the side all the way around. So if you're just, you're holding it and you're just kind of playing and doing that, you're gonna get it's actuating every single time. I never did not have an actuation button, so you don't have to like go here to reach over and hit a button or anything like that on other controllers we've tested here on the channel. Honestly, just hate them, because the bumpers and the triggers themselves, they do have gripple right here, as you can see. Just like the other BigBig Won controller I did, it's just right here. I kind of, again, I want to see gripple all the way around, personally speaking, but because especially since I'm just actuating it right here, it'd be nice if the actual gripple came right here where I could feel it and just kind of it'd help rest my finger on it while I'm sitting there playing and stuff. So that's just they'll point out little minor details there. The triggers on the controller itself are fine. There's nothing like super special about them or anything, other than that they have the Hall effects, as I was saying earlier, in them. And, well, they have the gripple and they press easily, and they don't have trigger stops. One of my gripes on the controller, but you can set the dead zone in the app itself closer to 0, so you get like that hair trigger pull kind of action out of the triggers themselves. So there's that. So let's talk about the rear buttons on this controller for a second. This is kind of a weird design, in my personal opinion. You have how they just two on the side right here, which are ergonomically, they're placed really, really well. Like when I'm holding a controller, my fingers are just literally sitting right there on them. And you have your other one. So with this, you're just gonna have to like either go like that or go like this. Honestly, I go back and forth like this. Just kind of back and forth, and after a few times playing with it, honestly, it didn't feel bad or weird to me. Actually, I was able to use it. I mean, I use the Razer V2 Chroma on a daily basis as my daily driver, so if I'm used to that controller, this controller is going to be super easy to get used to. They do have gripple on them, and you have 4 programmable buttons on them as well. Now, while I'm talking about programmable buttons for a quick second, I do want to mention that this controller, all the buttons on it are programmable in the app itself, and you can use a keyboard with it. So you can set the buttons up as keyboard shortcuts on the controller, which is cool if you're a streamer or something like that, and you have hotkeys and stuff like that set up on your keyboard for scene selections and stuff like that, and OBS, Streamlabs, Prism, whatever you're using. You can set like the back buttons up to do scene selections if you want, and well, you can do that. You know, it's pretty cool. So I just want to throw that out there, and you have to use the app to be able to set those up. Second video, how to use the controller. Stay tuned. But they feel good. They're nice. They're not like over clicky. They're kind of like, honestly, for back buttons, they're fine. They sound about typical in my personal opinion. They feel good in the hands, and well, they have the gripple on them, so that's a good plus. And they have the gripple all the way around. It's not just in one little spot. So do that with your bumpers and triggers, please. So this does have software on the controller itself that you would actually download to the PC. This isn't going to be an software for the app, which is the first controller I've had from BigBig Won that has that. Everything else I've done is app on the phone. So, you know, I have my issues with the app, not a whole lot, but I'll talk about that in the second video. Also, the controller does have gyro on it as well, so you can use it to do that aiming stuff that, you know, people like to do and stuff. I don't usually typically use it, but I'm going to show you how to use that as well in the second video. Out of the box stick drift, let's talk about that for a second, and we'll have to go back to the app for a split second. When you get the controller, the app and the dead zones for the sticks themselves are going to be set to 5. When they're set to 5, they were perfectly centered 0.0002 like they're supposed to be, but when you bump them down to 0, they actually are not perfectly centered like they're supposed to be. They're not really bad and not like super, I'm not upset about it or anything like that. And it's not gonna make me not want to buy the controller, but you know, just want to throw that out there. If these were Hall Effect sticks, I probably wouldn't have to worry about that as much, but circularity on the controller itself was a 2.8, which was pretty good for potentiometers, not Hall Effect sticks. To be honest with you, I thought it was really, really good. Usually you're getting 10 to 14 even on these styled sticks, but this has been 2.8. Very good. Bravo. Moving on. You do get 50 savable macros on this controller, which means you can set it up in the app to have you press a button. It does 50 different moves. Warranty on the controller itself is going to be a 1-year warranty with this controller, which is pretty typical. It's not like the best in the world. I've seen 2 years on a lot of controllers as well, but 1 year is not bad. It's a lot better than on other controllers out there. So take it for what it's worth. So my final thoughts on the controller is this. Let's start with cons. First con on the controller is going to be the battery life. I think the 10 hours is a little bit low and not necessary for gaming wise. I think that 10 hours itself is fine. My concern is the longevity of the battery itself. Once these batteries start to go bad on these controllers, you know, if you use, you know, controllers like that, they kind of seem to drop off really fast in battery life and overall how long they're going to last. So 10 hours, hopefully, you know, it doesn't, but it is a concern of mine. It might start being 8 hours after a year using it, 6 hours after a year and a half using it, and 3 hours. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure how it's going to work. Personally, I'm going to be using a wire with this controller anyways, because I want the 1000 hertz pull on the controllers over the 1 millisecond of a delay time for FPS games. Now, if I'm casually playing and stuff, you know, maybe you're not going to have an issue there. The dock stand keeps it charged, so I'm not worried about it, and it does cut off. So that is a good feature to have on this. It's going to definitely help out with the longevity of the battery life on the controller, but I'm still kind of concerned about that. But it's not a concern that I wouldn't buy the controller, especially for $50, because I think that's a pretty good deal in my personal opinion, especially getting an entire kit with the docking stand and everything. And the controller looks beautiful, the white one especially. My only other con on this controller, honestly, it's going to be the sticks themselves. I personally think there should be Hall Effect sensors in the joysticks myself. Every joystick that I play with nowadays that is for Nintendo Switch have Hall Effect sensors on them. There are not a whole lot of controllers that are coming out that don't have them. And I understand there are certain Hall Effect sensors that are not as good as other Hall Effect sensors, and we're starting to weed them out, and that'll only get better over time. But it's just typical at this point, right? To put good Hall Effect sensors in controllers. Xbox is even doing it now with the GameSir and the Turtle Beach Stealth $200 controller that is out. And, you know, I just think that we need to catch up to the times. Now, I will say there are people that think that these Hall effect sensors are not as accurate as the potentiometers sensors in the controller. So if you're in that camp, let me know in the comments below. I am curious about that, how many people feel that way. I'm starting to see comments come in about that, and I'm just honestly curious about that, and want to do more research and dig in the trenches a little bit more for you all. The D-pad wasn't my favorite D-pad in the world, but it wasn't like it was super horrible either. But if you honestly, personally, other than that, everything else was on the controller was perfect, ergonomically speaking. The back buttons were placed good, even though they look weird. They actually work really, really well in my personal opinion. And you know, I'm a fan of the controller. I'm actually a fan of controller, which the Rainbow 2 controller I was a fan of too. So BigBig Won's got it going on over there, honestly, with making good controllers. I feel like, especially from an ergonomic standpoint and just a look standpoint. I mean, look at it. That's a gorgeous looking controller. If you think about checking the controller out itself, make sure you check out the links below. I've already posted the cheapest links I could find for y'all. They are affiliate and do help the channel out. Appreciate your support there. And I'll see you guys on the flip side on the how-to video of this controller. See you guys the next time. Peace.